Hey everybody, welcome back to another Reviews After Midnight. And sorry for all the stuff behind me here. It looks like I either have like a mohawk or I'm growing boxes out of the back of my head, but I am moving. So it's just havoc in here right now. But I still wanted to get a video out, and I don't like skipping a month. I like being consistent. So because I'm moving, I packed my list and I don't know where I got the list from. So I'm just going to kind of have to wing it. And the film that I want to talk about today, I've seen the cover before and I really like the cover. Then I found it at Dollar Tree when they were still selling movies. I was like, oh, cool, I want to see this. And it's been sitting on my shelf for a while. It's actually been sitting, I think, just under either like Rotten Tomatoes or Shudder. It might be Shudder. It's released from RLJE Films. And I've always dug this cover. Yeah, Shudder original. And that's this here, Blood Quantum. So that's a pretty cool cover. And we got our inside here, and there's the little Shudder thing. But I didn't know exactly what this was. I thought maybe it was like a, kind of like I don't know, a road warrior or post-apocalyptic type of film. And in a way it is. My throat is dry and I'm about to sneeze. So expect two things happening. Be drinking water and sneezing at some point. It's coming. Oh God, it's like right here. And it won't, but yeah, it's a Shudder original. And it says, where the dead rise, only the immune survive. Fun and gory as hell. That's from Slasher Film. It is certified fresh through Rotten Tomatoes. Now, on my list, it says, give a title, which I just did. And then it will say, give a rating. I did not know what this really was. Like I said at first, I thought maybe it was a, post-apocalyptic movie. And then I read the back. And I'm going to read that. It's not that long. So the indigenous people in the isolated reserve of Red Crow are immune to the zombie plague that has taken over the nation. Zombies, and then you get Native Americans. So it's a zombie Native American movie. But that doesn't mean their lives aren't at risk. It's up to Traylor, and that's Traylor, Michael Gray Eyes, who was in Fear the Walking Dead, the tribal sheriff, which is funny is they keep calling him chief, so like chief of the tribe, but he's actually chief of police. I don't know if that was intentional or not. To protect the families residing on the reserve and a flood of desperate refugees from the hordes of bloodthirsty walking white corpses that are closing in. It says an action-packed thrill ride that is from Film Inquiry. And this is written and directed by Jeff Barnaby. It's not rated, and it ran about maybe like 100 minutes. But it didn't really feel like that. It was a little bit of a slow, I don't want to say slow. It was kind of like a slow burn it was building up to. So I could see this almost being a spinoff from like Walking Dead, but with Native Americans in it. What it is that they're in this town that seems like it's in like Alaska, and it's in the winter. So we have snow. The trees are all bare. Everybody's bundled up. And it begins with an old man who's fishing. He gets some big fish. He gets some trout. And then he goes and guts them. When he's done gutting them, they all come to life and start flipping around. And some of them stay on the table. Some of them fall on the floor. And the guy walks away. He's like, oh, shit, what is this? Then the sheriff gets called out to this guy's house, and a dog is dying. He might have eaten rat poisoning, or he might have gotten into something. And sadly, the sheriff has to put the dog down. And later, there is some banging on or banging inside the sheriff's trunk. And he opens it, and the dog jumps out. And the dog was dead. So he has to shoot the dog. And he goes up, and then he goes to the old man's house, who happens to be his dad, and opens up a like a freezer, and he's like, "Oh, dead trout." And then they start hopping all around, and he quickly closes it, and they take it outside, the dad and the son, and they burn the trout and the dog. Luckily, we don't see the dog; we just see the trout. And we meet the different people that are in this tribe. Well, before I get into that, so I wondered, why did they call this blood quantum? And I looked it up, and I just happened to see. So blood quantum is a controversial system that eliminates the amount of Indian blood in a person's ancestry. It's used by some native nations to determine citizenship and tribal membership. How is blood quantum calculated? Blood quantum is based on a person's family tree. It's calculated by dividing the combined blood quantum of a person's parents in half. For example, if one parent is full-blood Native American and the other one has no Native ancestry, the child has a blood quantum of 1.5. And it goes on. There's the history of, the impact of, and then there's, they even mentioned the movie in here. Blood Quantum is also the name of a Shudder original film about a tribal sheriff who must protect his community from a zombie plague. So I thought that was interesting, that blood quantum is actually a thing that I didn't know about. And this film came out in 2019. It is Canadian. So the rating that I would give this is, I would give this 3 out of 5. I enjoyed this. I really think this could have been like a spinoff of Walking Dead or something. I think that this could have been its own series, even if it was a limited series. I think it could have done it. You have the good guys, you have the bad guys. I really would have liked a behind the scenes or a making of or audio commentary. There's nothing. This thing has nothing on it at all. This is a bare bones DVD, which is really disappointing because it's very well made. The effects are pretty cool. It gets pretty gory. When the zombies attack, there's blood. There is a lot of talking, and the acting is okay. The acting is fine. It's not everybody is perfect in it, but it's okay. It's all right. You kind of get used to it after a while. And it's nice that it looks like they actually got some real Native Americans in here, because you could look in the titles and see their names. So it makes it feel much more authentic. I enjoyed the directing and the camera work. The camera work is very straightforward, and then like the camera would kind of move, or it would kind of pan over here. There wasn't really a lot of crazy camera work or crazy editing, and I appreciate that. Excuse me. This was kind of oh, hey, I never sneezed, but I did cough. It's more straightforward. And I think people that, oh God, pardon me, I'm tired because I've been packing and stuff. That I think people who watch this would appreciate the more kind of even camera work, that it's not all shaky, it's not edited crazy, it's pretty straightforward. And there's a lot of shots where characters or the background will fill the screen. And I like that a lot. So I do give this a good review. You know, I give it the 3 out of 5. And I liked it. I really would like to know more about this. So, like, does it have a budget listed? No. It just says that it's Canadian, 96 minutes. For the most part, it's in English, but they do speak in their native tongue, but there's subtitles for that. So some of the cast, so like Michael Greyeyes, who is he's the main actor in this. He's the sheriff, he's the father, and he was the guy that was on Fear the Walking Dead. You also have, and I have no idea how to pronounce her first name, but her last name is Tailfeathers. You have people like Forrest Goodluck. There were other people here with also just nicknames like Bumper, Shooker, Moon. There's a guy here just called Gate Zombie. There's a gate zombie that at the beginning, when all the craziness starts, when the whole kind of zombie apocalypse happens, and it's kind of like what the fuck is going on, it cuts to 6 months later, and the tribe on their land has built a fort, kind of this junky fortress that they're all inside, and pretty much they've been protected. If the zombies come up, the people, the guards shoot them, and it so far they're okay, they're safe. There is a jerk that there's Charlie. She is a white girl. She's pregnant, and people like her, but she's an outcast. You get Lysol. There's a nickname for you. He's the villain. Joseph, I believe, is the boyfriend of Charlie. And Lysol and Joseph are brothers. Joseph is the good brother. Lysol is the bad brother. He's the one that's on the front of the box, who looks pretty cool. I almost wish that they would have never revealed him. I kind of would have liked if he just would have stayed like this. There's, I think it's Shooker. I really liked. He was my favorite character, which is this guy right here. He's a Native American that goes around with a samurai sword. So I thought that was pretty cool. He takes it out like a samurai. He cleans it off like a samurai. He puts it back in like a samurai, and he's cutting heads off like a samurai. It's pretty cool. That's our lead. That's the sheriff. That's our bad guy. That's Lysol. I forget his name, but he always has this kind of like giant battle axe. I don't recognize this guy, unless that's Joseph. And then she's a doctor. And Joseph is the son of Trailer. Yeah. I'm lost without my notes with my questions. So hopefully this is okay. So some of the people they seem to be immune. They don't tell you at all how the zombie like plague or apocalypse happens. It just happens, and then it's 6 months later. So we don't know. And the dad is the sheriff. He is bitten by a zombie on his hand, but he doesn't turn. So he's immune. So some people are immune, some people aren't. You just don't, like, it's not an airborne virus. And Lysol, who's the jerk, the guy on the box, he actually lets zombies in, and they destroy the compound. And then we have our kind of George Romero, zombie attack at the end. So this did remind me of a couple different zombie films, but I thought that it was original enough that I was entertained by it. At the beginning, I have to admit, I was looking at the clock a little bit, but once it got into the apocalypse, the 6 months later, I dug it. I was getting into it. And that's when the zombie stuff happens. That's when these conflicts start coming up. They do talk about in the compound, the men, basically it's these people back on the back here. They talk about some people that are in like this building. I think it's like an old gas station, and they bring women in. The weird thing is, they mention blowjobs a few times, and I thought that was strange. Like, they don't mention sex, they just mention blowjobs, and I think at one point they mention going down on a woman, I think, but nothing about just like good old sex. They talk about just, it's weird, just blowjobs. It's really weird. And my guy brings it up right in front of a woman too. And I think that's Lysol who does that. But our leads go into the town to basically wipe out these people, and probably the girls too, because they're kind of hookers. And they when they get to the gas station, pretty much everybody is dead. And so there's just kind of zombies roaming around. So they have to like machine gun them down, or samurai sword them down, or battle axe them down, and kind of just take them out. Except for Lysol, there really is no, some of these names, there really is no bad guy. Like, there's not, these people want to attack these people, and so they have this big thing. Instead, it's just this one young guy, might be a teenager, who's just a dick, and nobody really likes him. And of course, he gets he gets what he deserves. And like I said, this reminded me of some other movies, TV shows, of course, too. The Walking Dead. It reminded me of Day of the Dead. And a few other zombie films. I love the location that this was in. Canada is brought up constantly in the credits. So this must have been shot in Canada. Even though I thought it looked like Alaska, maybe, because of how everything looked. Maybe it was produced in Canada but shot in Alaska, but that would be America. So I don't know if they would do all the tax write-offs for Canada and then shoot in America. So they must have just found like a remote town that they could convert, or they created the town, and they're by this big lake, this beautiful lake, and the town is pretty cool looking. It looks like a fishing town, because at the beginning the dad is out fishing, and it's basically, it's all Native Americans, except for we do see like a couple white people, and the Native Americans, they do bash, the white people, criticize them, which is, pretty understandable, but which didn't bother me at all, because it just kind of seems, if you have this entire camp and it's all Native Americans, and they're all, except for one guy, working together, and then some white people show up, that's going to throw kind of a wrench in there, because they're strangers. They're, of course, but white people, stealing of the land, and all of that. So it's, not to get political, but it's a good setting. I enjoyed the look. This is in God, does any of it take place at night? I don't think any of this takes place at night. I think this is all during the day, which I absolutely love. So sorry, mouth is dry again. Um, and I love that. I love horror films that take place during the day. Um, I just the other day I got back from a screening out here in Vegas for a Tom Devlin film with a character that Steve Hansen created called Nameless, and it all takes place out in like Pahrump and a few other areas out in the desert, in the rocks and all that. And it's all in the desert, all on these mountains and stuff. And it's all during the day. And I love stuff like that. So I think, yeah, this doesn't show any pictures from the movie on it, but I think the entire thing takes place during the day. And I love that. So I highly recommend that. I am curious about the director. I was going to look him up and then I just didn't do it. So let's do it right now. So, okay. Oh, he died. The director died. They don't. So Jeff Barnaby, he was born in 1976. They don't give like a month or a day. It just gives a year. He died on October 13th, 2022. It looks like he was like a Native American and Canadian. So he was a film director, writer, composer, and editor. He's best known for the films Rhymes of Young Ghouls and Blood Quantum. Early life, does it see if they list how he died? Okay, so here it is. He died in Montreal after a year of battling cancer on October 13th, 2022. After his death, there's the Jeff Barnaby Grant. Wow, that's disappointing. So his films are From Cherry English, 2004, The Colony, 2007, File Under Miscellaneous, 2010, Rhymes of Young Ghouls, 2013, Bleed Down, 2015, and Blood Quantum, 2019. That sucks. I would have liked to have seen more from him. He is somebody, because there were just really no answers on how this, was made, that I would love to have interviewed this guy for one filmmaker. But, I can't. That really stinks. I'm sorry that, that he passed. That's awful. He was a talented filmmaker. Well, then I'm glad that I own this. So I and I highly recommend it. The music was good. It was fine. It didn't really stand out. Oh, there are some kind of weird animated sequences in this. So I'm not sure, maybe if they just couldn't film something and they decided to animate it, or maybe that was the plan all along and the animation means more than what I know. Maybe there's a reason for it, something within, the people of that area, the Native Americans that that I don't know about. But the animation stuff was cool. I just don't really know exactly what purpose it served, but it was kind of cool. What else do we have? Because I'm going to wrap this up. I like the opening credits with the title. In between the letters, it kind of goes into the first animated like little sequence. Um, even though the acting was not perfect, I liked the characters and I thought that the actors were genuine. Uh, the effects were solid. The blood effects were very solid. The zombies looked good. There's some good drone shots overhead as the zombies are kind of like running through the forest and they're kind of running in between these trees. That looked pretty cool. I like that. What else did I like? I like them going into town and we get to see like the rundown gas station. When it goes to 6 months later, we do see like how this whole area this is just all messed up now, and there's just kind of zombies fumbling around. And it's all kind of just messed up. So I like that. I like that, except for the young guy, the Lysol guy. Nobody was really a jerk, and I appreciate when films don't make men out to be creeps or jerk. Well, the one guy is a jerk, but I think it's more ego than anything. But like you know what I mean? Like they're not creepy to women. Nobody was, women weren't attacked in this by another guy. She goes off to do something and the guy follows her and attacks her. Everybody seems to be equal. Everybody's on the same level because they have to be, because they are, they need to survive. So I liked that. I like when movies, everybody kind of has their place and they grow within that place where if a man is good as a hunter, he goes out and hunts. If a woman is a really good scientist, they use her as a scientist or maybe as a doctor or something like that. Or you could flip it. If a woman is a really good hunter, then she goes out and hunts, and the guy may be like a really good mechanic. And so then he stays there and works on the cars or whatever. It's, I know it's only 6 months. I don't know. They don't really talk about electricity or anything. Um, yeah, I didn't notice that. So maybe it wasn't really a big deal, but I don't think they bring up if they have electricity or if they have generators. They don't mention that. Noise, of course, attracts the zombies. There's a couple times where they fire guns on purpose to attract the zombies. Um, so I don't remember if they just use, on a boat, there is a lantern, but I don't remember if they have electricity or if they're using something else, candles or flashlights or whatever. But yeah, so I'm going to wrap this up. I enjoyed the movie. If you enjoy films like, or TV shows like, The Walking Dead, I think that this was probably a huge influence, that they took a lot of stuff from, Walking Dead was a huge influence on this. Obviously Fear the Walking Dead because the head actor is in that. What else let me quickly look to see what else he's in. Michael Gray Eyes. So he's been in a fair amount. Oh, he's in. Oh, that's where I recognize him from. Okay. He was in the remake of Firestarter, and he played John Raybird, which is correct from the book. In the book, he is a Native American, and but in the Drew Barrymore movie, it's played by George C. Scott, and they kind of fiddle with his face a little bit, but but in this, they got an actual Native American, which in the book he's a Native American. So I thought that was kind of cool, even though I didn't really like the movie that much. So I don't know some of these 40 Acres, The King Tide, Wild Hood, Wild Indian, To Go, Woman Walks Ahead. He plays Sitting Bull. Kissed by Lightning plays Jesse Lightning. Dreaming, he plays Spirit. So, yeah, he's had a decent career. Movies. He was in Geronimo, TV movie. Are You Afraid of the Dark? He was in an episode of that. Crazy Horse. Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Millennium. Magnificent Seven. Walker, Texas Ranger. Harsh Realm. I remember that. Charmed. Skinwalkers. Law and Order, Criminal Intent. Numbers. Man, he's been in a ton of stuff. Fear the Walking Dead. He was season 3 recurring cast. But I didn't make it to season 3. I gave up a little bit. I do want to go back and rewatch Fear the Walking Dead. American Gods, True Detective, Star Trek Discovery, 1923, which is one of the prequels to Yellowstone. Yeah, he's also in a video game called Prey. Man, this guy's done a lot. Saturn Award for Best Guest Performance in a TV Series for Fear the Walking Dead. I'm gonna have to check out more of his stuff because I'm a big Don Shanks fan, and I got to meet him once at a convention, and he signed a Michael Myers picture for me. Very nice man, and I'm one of the few people who liked "I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer," and one of the reasons why I like it is because Don Shanks plays the fisherman. So, and he's Native American. So, which is why I bring him up. So I'm going to have to check out some of this guy's other stuff. So he seems to be in some good movies and TV shows. So, all right, everybody. So go watch this film. I don't know where it's at. It could be on Tubi. That's probably where it's at. I would think with the type of film that it is. And it's Shudder. It could be on Shudder. There you go. Might be on Shudder then. But yeah, I would definitely check this out. I think that this was pretty good. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for putting up with my ramblings since I don't have my questions. On the next one, I should have my questions because I'll be all situated and organized by that time. So thank you. I appreciate it. I hope everybody, had like a good Christmas, had a good New Year, and I hope that the rest of this year treats you well. So I will see you on the next video. Okay, bye.